Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to
Hello.
the Abomination Goddess podcast. Hello, Casey.
Hi.
Oh, I have a kitty cat meowing at me today, too. All right. So today with me, as always, is Casie Halseth. She is the author of Abomination Born. It is a fictional portrayal of her real life experience with the mystical realms, and her action-packed book is just chock full of lessons, insights, and calls for other Abomination Born folks around the world to start connecting. And throughout our podcast, you'll figure out who these Abomination Born folks are because it's me and Casey and a bunch of other people. She is an award-winning public speaker, and I think that you'll find by watching this podcast and reading her books that she effortlessly draws her audience into her world both on the stage and in her book. And yes, this cat in the background is totally agreeing with me if you can hear her.
Can't.
And you can, okay. Oh, yeah. So vocal. My name is Ashley Kim, and I am the author of Villainera Goddess. I wrote this book to help women on their journey to set boundaries and build confidence and to heal themselves. It is a very honest and open look at what I went through and the tools that I used to survive my villain era. And I went through this journey alone, and I wrote this book so that you don't have to go alone, and I will be riding the crazy roller coaster with you. So, welcome! Yay! It's my favorite day of the week, podcast day. Yay! Okay, so we like to start off with a little round of show and tell, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Let's go through all of these amazing things. All right. Okay, what do we want to start with?
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's show this. So this is still dirty, but I found this. It's jade, and it's called a jade puzzle Reiki ball, and it has a ball within a ball within a ball, and it's made out of jade. Um, it is it's really pretty. It doesn't. I need to clean it. But I found it at a thrift store for $3. And
Wow.
yeah, it retails from anywhere to like 80 to 200.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do some research on it. So you can move the balls inside of this. Each
It's
ball moves
amazing.
separately. Yeah. So I had to show it off because I'm so excited about it. I haven't yet, but I'm going to look up how to clean jade so I make sure I don't ruin anything. And I'm also just trying to figure out what this is because it says it's a Reiki ball, but then I can't find any information on it. I can just find that it's for sale, on eBay and other places. But I'm so happy to have a big piece of jade. Um, so yeah, I had to show off my find, and it has a dragon, and it's really cool. It is so pretty.
And it looks like the dragon is maybe eating its tail or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought it looked like. Kind of
When
that
you're
like,
out at night, if you're able to see the night sky clearly, like up in the high desert in Arizona when we lived there, you can see um, the galaxy, and it looks like a dragon in the sky eating its tail.
it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wonder if that
That,
starts from the
yeah,
outer to the
yeah,
inner to
that,
the inner.
yeah. Um, yeah, if I find out more information on this, I'll let everybody know, but it
Oh
is
yeah.
gorgeous.
Maybe
Um,
someone can text us what it is. It's
yeah, true. Yeah, if
awesome.
anyone knows, text or comment. Um, Another thing I wanted to bring up is I created a birthday card tarot or oracle card spread. I originally created this for my sister, but then my birthday is the 27th, which was Tuesday, the day we're recording this. And yeah, so I'm going to include this PDF in our email that goes out. So if anyone else wants to do this, I created it to make it super positive. So you're going to see like what's my superpower, what's my glow up, how do I celebrate myself, things like that. So this is going to be a very positive spread. And I also included messages from guides and ancestors, for anybody who is wanting to kind of dive into that a little bit more. So I will be filling this out later tonight for me.
Can I
But if
look
anyone
at
else,
that for a minute?
yeah,
It's number one, you've got my card for the year, and then
yes.
number two is what is my superpower, Number three is my glow up this year. That's nice. And then four, how can I celebrate myself? I like that. Number five, message from my guides. Nice. And number six is support from my ancestors. Wow, those are really good.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, like I was saying, I wanted it to just be just a positive message,
Yeah.
to go into another rotation around the sun.
Yes, happy
Um,
birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm excited to fill this out for me. I already did it for my sister once and it was fun. And it was really positive. Okay. So this is another thing. So I love showing my artwork. I am not good. I Let me rephrase
You
that. I'm
did
not,
this?
yes. So I'm not an art,
Nice.
like I'm not an artist. You won't see me, don't see anything hung up anywhere, but I love being creative. And so this is one of my projects that I did for myself to kind of be in the moment. And so what I did is trace my hand and then I put one word in there. So I just used empowered. And then I just filled the whole thing with just doodles and drawings. And this was a very relaxing activity for me. And I recommend this
That's
for anyone who wants
wonderful.
to, do something. It's so easy, right? You just need a few markers, or you could use just the same color and your hand and a piece of paper. And it,
I
yeah,
love
gets you
it.
creative.
It's really, did you listen to music while you were doing this, or was it quiet? Were you
Yeah,
outside or inside?
yes, I would have been inside. And I'm thinking I probably did listen to music. And because what I did with this is did it over a few days. So, like, after I was done with my journaling and stuff like that for the morning, I would pick a color and just work on a few spots and then put it away. And then I kind of did it over time. And so, what I wanted to do with this was, oh, I have relief up here as well. That was another word. And free. Okay, so I have three words in here: free, relief, and then empowered. So yeah, I wanted to kind of put my intentions into it. So I wanted to do it while I was working on all of the other things that I do for myself, my mental health, and my spirituality. Yeah, so and this is what I put together.
Al and I went to a class on this at the Hot Springs Metaphysical event, and how
Okay.
this lady was, she's an artist, and she was talking how important it is to do this sort of thing. Um, it's doodling with uh, with expressing yourself. A-
Yeah.
And yeah, I've
Yes.
been
Oh,
wondering what I should do. I'm going to do this. I really like
yeah.
this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So if you just look up Zen Doodle, um, and especially if you look that up on Pinterest, you will see so many cool ideas of
Okay.
things that you can do. So yeah, I used my hand as the shape just because that's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do whatever you want. I've done it before too with like the shape of a feather and yeah, it was fun. Okay. One other thing. So we've been talking about copper a lot, and
Hmm.
we've been talking about pennies. And then I saw that maybe we're going to stop making pennies maybe in the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, well, how much copper is even in a penny nowadays anyway? So I decided to look it up. And so now I have all of my family looking for any pennies for me that were made before 1982.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm going to start collecting those older pennies because they are, yeah, almost 98%, oh, wait, 95% copper before 1982. So 1981 and older. And yeah, I'm going to start collecting those because they have more copper in them. Zinc is good for you too. And then I'm going to create a little meditation, like what you had said a few times, Casey. So
Yes.
anyone else who's interested in copper and how to get your hands on them,
To write
if
that
you want to start
down.
with pennies, which, they are everywhere, start looking at the dates. 1981 and older is what you want. Um,
And if you do make one of those mats to lay on, lay out it's 144 is how many you need. Um,
hey, okay.
144 pennies.
All right. I need to write this
And
down.
um, I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember how many that is across, but make it so it goes across, so you have them about an inch apart, and so
Okay.
it at least it goes as wide as your shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, lay down on it, and
Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah,
Okay. One last thing that I had was I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I just thought we talk about trees a lot. I thought this was so cool. So,
yeah,
trees send warning signals before volcanoes erupt, and satellites are detecting this from outer space now. And so it has an image, but it just goes to show you how I mean, they're just amazing. Trees communicate with each other, they can communicate with us, they communicate with the animals. Yeah, it is so cool. So I just wanted to show this. Anyone can go, research this on their own, but it just
do they
serves as a reminder.
vibrate? Do
Oh,
they vibrate? Is that what they're doing beforehand, or
um,
are they giving off something?
let's see here. Um, okay, so the volcano releases invisible carbon dioxide into the soil and the air. The trees absorb the gas, triggering subtle physiological changes that make their leaves greener and more reflective. Um, yeah, so it doesn't really say if it is a vibration as far as how they're speaking to each other, but it
Right,
sounds like
right.
this is the visual that the scientists are seeing. So,
Carbon
um,
dioxide.
yeah. We will be getting into, yeah. Okay. That was what I
Hmm.
had.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, what would you like to go to first?
See,
Do
we
you want
could
to do the
do,
affirmations?
yep, I only uploaded one.
That's
But
fine.
I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, so this looks like it's off of TikTok. Um,
Could be or Instagram. I can't remember which one I pulled it off of.
okay.
Masha,
Yeah.
Mahasa.
Yes. So right down here, viewers can see, yeah, like Casey just said, Mahasa, Mahasa.
Mahasa,
Um,
maybe, yeah.
yeah. So she found a great resource I think this is
Ah,
TikTok based on what I'm seeing over here on
could be,
TikTok.
yeah.
And this person is posting wonderful affirmations. So I just uploaded this one for self-love. Um, you are not a problem to solve, you are a spell to be cast. Self-love is the altar where all magic begins. The moon does not apologize for her phases, neither will I. You were born a wildfire. Stop letting fools preach about your sparks. Oh my goodness, I love that one.
Yes, yes. And like you are not a problem to solve. You are a spell to be cast. And remember, a spell is anything is our words. It could
Hmm.
be a song.
Hmm.
And to be cast, it means that you're putting it out there or you're just writing it down. Instead of holding it in your head, you've written it down that you're casting, or you're singing it, you're casting it out.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody says the word spell, that has to do with words.
Hmm.
What are you doing with
Hmm.
your words? And
Yeah.
you could be saying bad words to yourself.
Hmm.
And so she's trying to help you to say good
Yeah.
words to yourself.
Yes. I love that. That is a very good reminder. Uh, yes. So, yeah, anybody wanted to follow that account, you will have some really good affirmations and uplifting words. Let's see. Are these from this book?
Yeah, look, go to the yeah, some of it's from this book, Love is in the
Okay.
Earth, and some of it is another book, Crystal
Oh,
Basics.
right here. Okay. Yep. This
Uh-huh.
one right here. Yep. This is the other one. Okay.
And then then the idea of this came from, go to the writing one, the one with the most, that one, yeah. Oh, wait, no, the other one. I'm sorry. Go to the other one.
No problem.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this one YouTube video. He puts it out almost every week, but sometimes not. It's called the Y Files.
Mhm.
WHY files, and it's really good. He talks to a fish, and it's just a really good program. But anyway, this
Yeah.
last week, he brought up something called dark oxygen. I'll read this to you, then I'll kind of go over it. Dark oxygen is polymetallic nodules. These are little rocks that are formed under pressure in the ocean. So they're on the deep surface of the ocean, and from
Mhm.
the pressure, give off electrical charges. These charges break the hydrogen bond of water, and water, remember, is H2O. So that means it's two hydrogen molecules and one oxygen molecule. And one of the weird things about water, is that it's an oxygen molecule that's round, let's say, and then the hydrogen molecule stays up at the top, like they look like Mickey Mouse ears at the top. And because they're up there and they're not side to side on the oxygen molecule, they're in a weakened position. So hydrogen is in a weakened position up there. And one of the things that's really unique about hydrogen is that it always likes to visit with everybody else. It's
Mhm.
a real friendly element. And so the hydrogen is going to try its best all the time anyway to either break away and go visit somebody else, go visit another oxygen molecule, making it H2 or H3O. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, Anyway, so when when these polymetallic nodules, these rocks, have been under such pressure at the bottom of the deepest part of our ocean, they the pressure releases those hydrogen molecules.
Mhm.
The pressure on the rocks creates electrical charge, which breaks the hydrogen away from the water molecules, leaving pure oxygen. You know how we've always said that, rocks, people say, well, what's so special about rocks? Why do you like
Yeah.
rocks so much? Well, any kind of rock, if you put them under a whole lot of pressure, is going to react from that
Mhm.
pressure. Sometimes they break. We just don't know what they're going to do. Well, under the ocean, and these uh, molecules produce. I don't know how to shut off my phone here. Oh, anyway, they produce pure oxygen, and there's life forms that live right down on the ocean floor, and they feed off of oxygen, not just the oxygen in the water, but they're feeding off oxygen down
Yeah.
there. It's just
Wow.
amazing. And this
Yeah.
is called dark oxygen. And just as another side note, when you see the glaciers up in Alaska and stuff, they're really heavy. That's a whole lot of pressure, and they've melted underneath it. They've melted. Well, that oxygen or that water underneath those glaciers, the the hydrogen is no longer at the top, like like Mickey Mouse ears. They've
Mhm.
slipped off to the side, and they're on each side of it. And I forget the name of that oxygen, but from the pressure, it's become this slippery form of oxygen. And
That is so
that's why
interesting.
they slide so easy. That's why, people say, well, how did the glaciers move all the way down? Well, it's because of what happens with water.
Mhm. Wow. I didn't realize that it could change like that.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated with
Yeah, that
water and
is.
minerals.
Yes, I love it. That is so interesting. Oh, I love it. Is this
And
from the
now
book or?
this is from the Love is in the Earth book. And piezoelectric um, is something, when you put a lot of pressure. Well, let me just read it for you. Electricity and sometimes light is produced by the compression, that would be compression on crystals and things and some other stones, which is the release of electrons. The release of compression allows expansion. It's small and
Mhm.
causes reabsorption of electrons. So think like a sponge.
Mhm.
So you know how when you put a sponge in a bunch of water and then you squeeze it
Hmm.
and it lets it out, and you let go of it, and then it starts to absorbing again.
Yeah.
Well, think of all rocks, as being in a water of electrons, which means just everything. Everything, there's electrons everywhere in our atmosphere. I mean, just everywhere. And so
Yeah.
if you squeeze a rock of any kind, really, uh, it's going to release the electrons within it. And
Mhm.
if you let go of that pressure, it's going to start absorbing
Mhm.
electrons. And
Wow.
it's just you just
Yeah.
don't think of these solid things like that, but they
Hmm.
really are something. And our body is made of all kinds of minerals. So when
Uh-huh.
we put our body through all kinds of pressure, the same thing happens with us. And sometimes we get
Yeah.
around different people and we absorb them, sort of seems like. Well,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're in that we've been squeezed, all the water's been squeezed out of us and all
Yeah.
the energy's been squeezed out of us, and we're like sponges, we want to fill back up, and sometimes we have to be careful if we're around someone who's releasing, because we're going to
Yeah.
pick up all their things.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
another
Oh my
reason to get out
goodness.
in nature, because when we're squeezed, we will pick up the nature things, which are good. So the next
Yes.
thing is um, polyelectric, uh, uh, pyroelectric. That's another quality that stones have.
Okay.
Produce and charge with temperature. So heated crystals expand, and cooling crystals contract. So
Mm.
tourmaline, tourmaline, it
Mhm.
comes usually in blacks. You can get it other
Yep.
colors too. When you heat tourmaline, it attracts ashes. Like if you've got it in a fireplace, it'll attract
Mhm.
the ashes when it's hot. And when it cools, it will repel the ashes.
What?
They actually will move away from it.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And
That is so cool.
isn't it? And due to electrical charge, which accumulates on the surface of the crystal, heat equals energy on the surface of the crystal. Now, topaz will hold heat for several hours.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is so interesting.
Oh,
And it
I
says
didn't put on here
topaz.
too. Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't put on here. I have another one too that I didn't put on here. But when you use one of those cigarette lighters, that's adding having the pyroelectric, that's causing a flash, causing the fire, and that's what starts up there's a crystal in there, and that's what starts up the little flame that
oh my goodness. Yeah.
in
I'd
a
never even
cigarette
thought about
lighter.
that.
Yeah, and in your stove, in your gas stoves and things.
Yep. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. This is fascinating. I love
And
this.
like for instance, yeah, the topaz will attract and repel bits. Okay, no, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, this is the other thing. Uh, oh, I read this wrong. Tourmaline. No,
No,
yeah.
you read it right. Yeah.
Topaz. Topaz will attract and repel bits of paper, thread, or ashes, and that's another thing too. So you could take your topaz, and if you wanted to heat it up, you have to be really careful because they will break. Um, you put paper near it, and it will attract it, and then as it cools, it will repel it.
My goodness. This is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And remember, it's us too, because as our bodies, someone flashes a sentence at us that is whatever, you know,
hmm
and it's like we've just been clicked on like a cigarette lighter.
hmm
We'll go into a quick flame.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is so cool. And so this is from these two books.
Yes, yes.
Love is in the Earth. Um, is that by Melody or
Yes, that's all she's known
okay.
by is Melody.
Okay.
It
Oh, that's
was
cool.
comes from the 1990s.
Oh, neat. And then
Hmm.
yeah, Crystal Basics by Nicholas Pearson.
Mhm. And there's a
Yeah.
picture of the lattice work of one way. So it this is like a cube shape of how the molecules lay around itself, inside some
Mhm.
crystals. And, there'll be all kinds of different shapes. But you can
Yeah.
see that if you were to put a whole lot of pressure on that, something's going to fail.
Yeah,
And
something has to give.
and when you release the pressure, you can kind of tell, just like a sponge, it's going to
Yeah.
some of it'll go back into place again, but it'll start to absorb other things. And so you wonder, okay, some stones that we have are melding of several other kinds of stones, and you wonder what the
Mhm.
heck happened here? Was it all, why is this one part this? And this is one
Yeah.
of the reasons. This is what can cause it is it moves. It responds to its environment,
Mhm.
just like we do.
Yeah, just like we do. And I
Mhm.
like the reminder too that we have minerals inside of us.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
water.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and water. Yeah. Oh, that is so fascinating. And I don't know, I just feel like, that is very scientific, but it also helps us figure out why we do respond to things in a certain way and, how we might feel a certain type of way around people or different in nature. And I mean, all those things, everything put together, is, yeah, what a great reminder. And yeah, I love that.
We're not as um, put together so solidly as we think we are. It
Yes.
doesn't take much. I mean, we have so much water in our body. It doesn't take much for that hydrogen, the Mickey Mouse ears of that hydrogen to come off of us, and uh, and we can be changed easily. I mean, just washing your hair with soap, um, the sulfur in the soaps, or whatever they're using, that will grab that hydrogen, and that'll help help remove dirt and things from our hair. It's
Yeah.
it We're very easily manipulated by what we're exposed to.
Yes. Yes, we are. And I think we've forgotten that, right? And
Mhm, mhm.
just like in that one book about the darkness, he talks about how humans have just kind of forgotten. They've separated themselves from literally every other living thing on this earth and, you know, categorize themselves over here, but no, we are actually a part of all of it. And this just helps prove it. And I mean, we're impacted by everything, the rocks, the trees, the moon, sunspots, or, solar flares or whatever. Like all of it is doing something to us. And you can pay attention and listen and learn, or you can just ignore it and not know why you're a grouch or not know why your stomach hurts or, whatever, but you're still getting impacted by all of it.
And we are that powerful. We
Hmm.
are. I remember years ago, this one guy had said to my sister and I, we were in Florida, and he was saying something to us, and he says, "Well, you guys don't think you're that powerful, are you?" And we looked at each other and we said, "Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We
we
know.
are. Hmm.
We create our environment, we create our destinies, we create everything."
Yeah. Yeah. We do. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, you are that powerful. Whew,
So if
it
we
is.
want to change in our life, if we want something to change, we might put pressure on ourselves. If we're holding on to things that we really need to let go of, we might do it by putting pressure on ourselves. And ways to put pressure on ourselves, might be doing some people do exercise and things like that to kind of really get their body going, or it could be you might start to read up on everything you can, really get your mind going on things.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know Apply some kind of
Yep.
pressure, get it going.
Yeah.
And
Intentionally. Yeah. I think that's a good point to intentionally apply the pressure because the
yes,
same could be true if you let your, if you're, have anxiety and you're letting your mind pressure you in a way that isn't healthy, you can't absorb anything because you're too,
yeah,
tight. You can't let anything in. And so, yeah, if you intentionally pressure yourself, that's healthy. But if you kind of just let yourself run away, do whatever it wants, that's very unhealthy and you can't absorb anything. that you should be
And then be
absorbing.
careful where what you're around when you're absorbing. Have
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
I always call it my back pocket. I have for my back pocket the things that will be good for me when I know that I'm in that absorbing time. When the sponge has been squeezed and I'm releasing the sponge of me, and I know I'm going to be sucking in everything. So then
Yeah.
I'll have things kind of already figured out in my back pocket, the things that I'll read. I have a poetry book here that I'll read.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books is, oh, if I have it, The Reenchantment of Everyday Life by Thomas More. Oh, I just love that book. And, just to absorb myself with the right kind of people so that during the time after I put myself through some pressure, well, writing your book and
Hmm.
it was just getting it done was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And we were so lucky to surround ourselves with people in the writing world that are so kind.
Yes. Yeah.
So when
Yes.
when we started
Very
to
grateful.
release ourselves from that pressure, it was like, oh, finally, the people that
Hmm.
we were around were so nice. And so the result is then we get filled up with all this good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a great example. And this, what you're saying also kind of ties into when we were talking earlier today about the new moon.
Oh,
And, it's time to start expanding. And yeah, I love what you're saying about having something in your back pocket. Like, what are you going to have? Um, that's what I'm missing right now is
yeah.
that it's kind of a foundation of like rules and positivity, maybe. I don't know how to describe that, but yeah, like this is your vibe for going forward before you start soaking stuff in. Yeah, I love that. I need to think of what should be in my back pocket. Um,
My mom used to read the Psalms in the Bible. She
yeah,
would read those, and I always knew that when she was reading the Psalms,
right.
she was needing to absorb good. I could
Yes.
always tell she wasn't reading her. She would read history books and, books about anything.
Yeah.
She was an avid reader, but when she was reading the Psalms, I
Hmm.
knew that I knew that she was needing to absorb beautiful things,
Yeah.
beautiful
That
words.
is, yeah, that is so interesting. And I've never put this together, but yeah, there are I like reading all kinds of different things, but there are certain times where I am very specifically called to read, something that is a little bit more positive or affirmations or things like that. And I've never paid attention to when and why and any of
Hmm.
that. So I mean, obviously it's good to follow your intuition because I'm sure your inner knowing is telling you anyway, but yeah, but just to be prepared, I love this having something in your back pocket. I just love that.
The Poetry Remedy is a book by William Seegert. The
Hmm.
Poetry Remedy. And in the back, he's got an index, and he's a psychologist. And whenever anybody comes to him with any kind of problem, he will give them a poem to go home with, and
Yeah.
that's going to help them with their problem. And this is one of the books that I will pull out if I'm having a problem of um, uh, here's an example of not knowing who one is. And so then you go to page 76 and you read this poem, and it helps
Yeah.
you to, and the first, when you read it the first time, it's like all of his suggestions, the poems don't really come out at you. It's like, oh, what's this for?
Oh
And then
yeah,
after
yeah.
you've read it about 10 times, none of them are really long. All of a sudden, something happens. And
Hmm.
it's where you've been under a whole lot of pressure and you don't know where to turn.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the words cast a spell on us.
Uh-huh.
And it's a beautiful spell. And it helps us to realize we're not alone. This person wrote
Hmm.
this poem, and they wrote it under the same circumstance, and they saw a way out of the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And just like your
Oh.
art, doing the art, I just love that because, just looking at it, you can tell that it's like a release, isn't it? I
Mhm.
mean, you can see
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I
giving
love
out,
it.
yeah, it's giving out that feeling. So let's say I'm in a mood for, I need, I've been squeezed and I need something. Well, if I look at something like that, it's
Mhm.
going to feed me.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah. And I think that's why I love art in general. And there's something about, creating your own, obviously being creative on your own, but then getting to view and absorb somebody else's art, I think is
Hmm. Hmm.
honestly a privilege to get to do it. Um, and yeah, like you said, it does something. It does something. And, if you're ready to start soaking some stuff in, those are the things that should go in and they feel good. When you find the art that speaks to you. Yeah.
Well, there's art that is kind of dark and goopy and gloppy or sharp lines even. And
Yep.
like, why would somebody want that? And it could be because they're in a place where they need to have some pressure put on them. So if you're attracted to that, normally you're not, but all of a sudden you see something like that, and it's like, why? And it's because you're being shown that you need to go within and really squeeze out
Yes.
something in yourself. So those kind of things are for the squeezing down, and like
Yes.
your
Yeah.
hand thing is for the once you've squeezed everything, now you need to open up and let something good in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think maybe that's another reason why I just love art so much too, is like, yeah, I will be drawn to something like, let's say what you were saying, like maybe a darker piece or something. And I was brought up to be fearful of those kinds of things. And so then once I was able to drop that, it's fascinating to then look at a piece of art and just look at the symbolism and why was I drawn to this and what are the feelings that come up and to just honor those and get to sit with them. And
They're like
yeah, just
portals.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they really
So
are.
what shadow am I not seeing in myself that this artist has painted? If it is if it's a dark something or other, or sharp lines or something, some
Yes.
uncomfortableness about it. So
Hmm.
it might be, one time I might go through a museum and see those things. I'm not interested in looking at. Other times I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just
Yes.
spellbound by it. And
Yeah,
it's so
same.
obviously I'm at a point in my life where I can go the next level. I'm ready to go down deeper and
Yep.
and put the pressure on myself and see some
Yep.
shadow within me. And remember, all shadows are portals to someplace else.
Yep.
So where am I going?
Right. Where am I going? Yes, I love that. And I think, yeah, that's a great example. And I remember when I first started to um, put the fear or the really kind of a prejudice away and just view art as just with an open mind. And I was surprised and shocked that I had a period of time where I was almost envious of people who created some of the darker things. And I had to sit with that and be like, why would I envy that? And it was, oh, because they're letting it all out. Like they are honoring something that I was taught to suppress. And I don't know. Anyway, I could talk about art forever and why I love it, but that is
Yeah,
just another
yeah,
reason of seeing that other people are out there expressing themselves and sometimes they do it on our behalf, right? So when
yes.
like my book was on behalf of other women and these artists are doing the same thing. And I think that's the other reason why I really appreciate as well is when someone puts something out there that is a little edgier or might make some other people uncomfortable. They did that for me, and they did it for you. They did it for anybody who's
Yeah.
looking.
And with each chapter in your book, you have that compression part where you explain what something is, and then you
Mhm.
have the release.
Mhm.
And so, you give a really good thing for somebody to do so that they can keep themselves safe while they're releasing that sponge. And when they've let go of that sponge or whatever the problem is, they're in
Yeah.
that vulnerable state, and you help them
Yep.
with every single thing you tell them. You put in something for them to be safe so that what they're absorbing is good, and so that
Yeah.
next time they go through the whole book, they're a different person. They're not the same person they were before. And so when they squeeze, they'll go deeper and then
Mhm.
release and then go deeper and release.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, it changes a little each time. Yeah, and I was even thinking when you're talking about just having stuff in your back pocket is in my book I do talk about the panic post-it notes and just having, your ideas written down for when your brain isn't being helpful to you. But
That's right.
I had that thought of I need a post-it note, my back pocket post-it note of, okay, new moon or ready to absorb, what positive, things, what affirmations, books, music, like what do I want to, get surround myself with? And I'm going to do that.
And
I'm
this is
excited.
why, as the moon changes its phases, we feel the pressure and we feel the release. And right now we're getting into that release. We're moving into a softer
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. Yes. New moon is my favorite. I was saying that earlier. I was saying everyone talks about the full moon. We need to talk more about the new moon. Like it is my favorite. And that's when I like journaling more during that. I like meditating more during that. I feel like I get way more downloads than I do for a full moon. But yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, yeah, this has been a really fun podcast. I really enjoyed learning the scientific ways that the rocks are always changing and the crystals and the stones, like how it's always changing, and to tie that into our bodies and the fact that we have
Mhm,
minerals inside us, like, I mean, it just makes sense, right? And if those stones are also changing water and oxygen, like that's also inside of us. Like all of it is,
mhm.
yeah, we're all connected. I love that. I love the reminder. And I think people like to separate out I'll just say like spiritual stuff. I don't really know the term for it. They want to separate that from everything, from science, from, everything. It's not, it's all together. And the more that we can see how it all works, the more it's, to me anyway, it's real. Like it is really there. And yeah, I don't know. What do you
And
think? What
and
are,
like when with our body, when you live in Florida, you have more pressure on your body than when you live in Denver, Colorado. There's
yeah,
less gravity pull on you.
yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
less
you
pressure.
feel it when you walk off a plane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and maybe going to Florida is pressuring down and all the things that you want to get rid of, you know. And then when you go up to Colorado, it's like, oh, let it go. You get that feeling of just let it go, let it go,
Mhm.
let it go, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love
And
that.
everything you absorb up there is going to be good, hopefully.
Yeah. 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 Oh, fun. Yeah, so those are our lessons for the day. Learning more about stones and crystals and how everything interacts with each other. And yeah, we're all connected.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else? Anything else we want to remind our listeners about?
No,
No?
can't think of anything.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And thank you, Casey, for joining me today. I say this every time. This is my most favorite part of the week, and I love it so much. This is like my church. This is where I get to
I
learn and grow and be myself, and I love it. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. We will see everybody next week. Thank you.
Bye.